Hey everybody, Justin Willett with the Spy Realty Group, and I am here with Skye Khelly from Fidelity Title. And like we said in the intro, we're going to cover the top 5 things that you need to know about what is title. So, obviously breaking into it. Number 1.
Just no warming up, just go.
No warming up.
Awesome. All right. So a couple of things that we normally get is basically the overview. What is title insurance? Yep. And Lord, if it didn't take me a million years to figure it out myself. I am an escrow officer, but I am licensed for title to be able to do what I do to make sure everything can go smooth from start to finish and not just kind of, break away unheard of. Most of the time, it's the process. Those are the questions that we normally get the most of, which is how long is it going to take? Who are my points of contact? When is it, too much of me calling in and checking in on things? When is it okay? How long is too long to go without communication? Stuff like that. And finally, how does everything wrap up? So the full process, of course, starts with your real estate agent. I know a couple of really, really good ones.
Me. Put my hand up.
It's me. And, of course, you want to enter into a contract, either buyer or seller. And if you're working with, of course, Justin, you know that he's going to be taking care of you throughout the entire process. So you really only need to reach out to me if, for whatever reason, you have extenuating circumstances where you need to, but he takes good care of you. But it starts with the contract, and then once we receive the contract signed by all parties in your agreement, we go ahead and make sure that that gets submitted to open title. And what that means is that it just gets assigned to one of our amazing title officers to go through the process of making sure that the property is searched. And what that means is you get a report that shows everything that's of public recorded record on the property so that once the transaction goes through, we make sure that we can issue the buyer free and clear title. But also coming back on the seller side, we want to make sure that there are no issues that they have to run into in the future. When you're done selling, we want to make sure you are done selling. Right.
And so essentially, title is kind of like the engine behind the transaction to make sure that the property and the house you're buying is free and clear of liens, judgments, everything
mortgages,
else, right?
All of it.
That could potentially create a big hiccup, and sometimes does happen.
It really does.
I'm sure you don't like giving those emails or phone calls out.
I don't, and normally, my team especially, we like to try and hit the ground running. We're trying to clear those things and ask those questions up front before we get too deep in the process. So we know what we're hitting up against the wall. Get what we need as far as authorizations and stuff to make sure that we can get those ordered in a timely manner, because not everybody is super fast.
Nope.
Everybody's different, and everybody, I don't know if you've noticed, has been changing the process every 5 minutes.
It does happen occasionally.
So, if I tell you what we need and it's not what we needed last week, surprise.
Right. So you mentioned clearing title. So that kind of brings us on to, top 5 things. Number 2, which is actually clearing title. What is clearing title? Like, what does that mean?
So most of the time when a title report is issued, it's going to show the majority of the things that are recorded against the property itself. So it's going to show any liens, judgments, et cetera, for the selling side of the things. That could be medical judgments, credit card judgments, student loans. It could be child support. It could be just a regular mortgage that we have to make sure is paid in full.
Mechanics liens.
Exactly. And so what we want to do is make sure that, to make sure everything goes smoothly through the process, is to make sure that you don't have to be the one chasing down all these parts and pieces.
Right.
So that's where we come in. We are your one point of contact. We get you probably to sign a couple of authorization forms so that we can go ahead and start requesting this information from those, creditors essentially on your behalf, so that your clients don't have to really do anything except for sign here, give us a quick little bit of information on whatever loan judgment, et cetera, is here, and then we take care of the rest so that no one has to worry about anything. Now, on the rare occasions, there are judgments and stuff that are recorded against buyers' names. If you got a cash purchase, it's not really that big of a deal. They could take title subject too, but when you've got a lender involved, they really don't like the threat of having secondary liens and stuff. So normally we just need to verify that those are paid through the transaction. And luckily I haven't had really very many issues. Right. Knock on all the wood.
Yeah, seriously.
Speak it into existence here.
Yeah.
But for the most part, it is, clearing off the seller side of everything just to make sure that we are literally your one-stop shop, drop top, raindrop, making sure that everything gets transferred appropriately.
So that's what clearing title is. So obviously as a buyer, you're going to hear like, hey, just a heads up, we're waiting for preliminary title to come out. It's your chance to kind of review all this stuff that's on the properties, such as if there's any utility easements or whatnot attached to the property. I mean, there's a whole list of things that could be attached to a preliminary title, which is like number 3. What is preliminary title report?
Okay. So,
this
first
might
of
be
all,
long.
this is really exciting for me to say, but it's something that's not taking 6 weeks anymore.
Yes, I know. Yay.
So those are getting issued faster, and that means that we can get to the final end product faster. But basically, a prelim is short for a preliminary title commitment. And what that is just like any insurance company, you'd get set up with an initial binder showing that they have the intention to insure you through a transaction. That's basically what the preliminary title commitment is. So it is the basis, square one, shows everything that we need to clear to make sure that free and clear title can be issued to the purchasing buyers at the end of the transaction, and of course make sure that the seller doesn't have anything else to worry about moving forward in the future.
Right.
But that is all it is. This is a preliminary report, and then what we do is we clear off all of the needed items from that, and then once everything is closed and recorded, that's when we issue the actual title policy. And if it's a standard cash transaction, there's just the owner's title insurance policy. And then if there's a lender involved, it is the standard as well as a simultaneous issue lender's title insurance policy.
Right.
So we insure both, buyers in the owner's title insurance policy process as well as the lenders if there's a loan involved.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of information there. I'm sure there's actually way deeper of an answer, but we'll just keep it pretty basic for now. So that brings us to... Obviously, you said just like an insurance company, you're issuing a binder, a preliminary kind of binder, right, of insurance. So what is title insurance and why do you need title insurance?
So title insurance is really important, and I know that a lot of people still don't know exactly what it is or why it costs so much, et cetera.
Right.
So title insurance is something that you purchase, it's one and done at every transaction, which means that unlike other insurances, you never have to renew it. Right. You are going to be covered from the length of the time that you purchase that insurance policy through closing that we issue up until you actually transfer ownership of the property. Now, that is basically at the end stage of where we've cleared it. If you go through and obviously you're purchasing, you have a loan, we're going to issue free and clear title, but then the mortgage is going to come up, which is then going to create a lien, of course. And then any upcoming liens, judgments, et cetera, hopefully that you don't have, but some people do every once in a while. It's not covering against future items. It's everything up until the point of which that policy was issued to you. Which just means that if we've missed something, I hate to admit it, but we are all human. Sometimes we do make mistakes, albeit usually very rarely, and especially in these circumstances, that's why the process can feel so just relentless almost sometimes, is because we just want to make sure everything is right where it needs to be, covered by the amount of eyes that need to see it, making sure that just everything is taken care of. So that's pretty much what title insurance is. It's going to cover for the length of the time that you own the entire property up to the point that you purchased it. And then, again, when you transfer, of course, there's going to be a new title insurance policy issued as well.
Yeah, so essentially, you guys are insuring the property, right, from previous liens and deeds up to the point of that transactional sale.
Yes.
So at the start of it, forward. So that's why you guys do the clearing title and all that stuff, right?
Exactly.
And so you're kind of insuring it and putting an insurance policy on that.
Clean slate, and then whatever happens, and we'll see you again in 6 years when you decide you're moving to Aruba.
Right. Or Texas apparently is a big thing right now. Everybody seems to be moving to Texas.
Woo!
So, but that brings us into top 5 things. Last one, number 5, which is like the types of title that are out there, right? Because there's not just like you go and get one single thing of title. There's a bunch of different types. They all do different things. So without going into too much detail, because you can really get into the weeds on it.
I can't.
But
you asked me to start. Just good luck getting me to stop. That wasn't part of the agreement.
What are some of the common types of title?
Okay, so the most standard form of title is a warranty deed. That's when it gets transferred. Everything that is subject to that property gets listed out, and it's warranting being free and clear of any and all liens, and then anything, of course, moving forward in the future. A lot of times in the past, properties have been transferred using a quitclaim deed, which is, it's the same effect as a warranty deed, except it doesn't warrant that everything's free and clear. So you can basically draw that up on a handshake agreement, get it recorded, and then all is said and done. But if you don't have the title search and the clearing of title to go along with that, who knows what mess you've just, walked into that you're now going to have to be responsible for clearing.
Right.
There are a couple of other types of deeds in special circumstances. A personal representation deed, if for whatever reason a party that you are representing in a transaction is, unfortunately deceased. There are deeds in lieu of foreclosure, something that you can do prior on an agreement settlement type thing to make sure that you don't actually get foreclosed on. So it's kind of literally in lieu of that.
Right.
But the most standard one that we work with is, of course, a statutory warranty deed. And one misconception about title insurance and deeds is, you get somebody that pays off their property, 30 years after they've taken out a mortgage or whatever, and then they're calling the title company, I'm ready for my deed. It's like, oh, we actually gave that to you, when you purchased the property.
Right.
So it's not like car loans or, titles to your vehicles or, stuff like that. You are handed the deed to your property when you close. It's of public recorded record, and it will remain that way until something is, again, of public recorded record and verified to change that status, which is extra protection, which is awesome, too.
Yeah. So, obviously a lot of information.
You said keep it short. I'm so sorry.
No, it's okay.
My favorite.
No, this is good.
Long story short, but let's take 17 side quests to get there. So.
I know. No, it's great, man. We just get so many questions from our buyers and sellers of like, what is title insurance? What does it cover? Like, what the heck is this warranty deed? I thought I get a title like my car, right?
Yeah.
A lot of just kind of common questions that I get that, sometimes I try to answer, but I might just have them call you.
Yeah,
so.
No, and that's perfect. I love questions. It makes me sound like I know what I'm doing.
So obviously wanted to get on here, have Skye with Fidelity Title come on, talk about this title insurance because it is such a common question that we get from all of our buyers and sellers. So thanks again for coming on, Skye. And of course, we will see you guys on the next one. All right, everybody. Hopefully you liked that video. Smash that subscribe button. Hit that like button. Drop us a comment if you got any questions for Skye or myself or anything that you guys want to see on future videos. And we will see you once again on the next one.